What will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks tumbled as investors worldwide get more skeptical about U.S. investments because of President Trump's trade war and his criticism of the Federal Reserve, which are shaking up the traditional order. Well, the S&P 500 fell 2.4% and was 16% below its record set 2 months ago. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 2.5% and the Nasdaq Composite sank 2.6%. Big tech stocks led the way lower ahead of earnings reports coming this week from Tesla and others. Perhaps of more concern, U.S. government bonds and the value of the U.S. dollar also sank. The Dow was down 971 points to close at 38,170. The Nasdaq lost 415 to 15,870. And the S&P 500 dropped 124 to 5158. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy, a bit muggy this evening with a low temp dipping to 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 20% chance we get some late afternoon scattered showers, and we'll have a high of 87. For Wednesday and Thursday, it's up to 50% chance for those afternoon storms. High temperatures will be in the low 80s both days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. It is a manic Monday coming your way. Hope you had a wonderful Easter weekend, and now you're looking forward to a big week of Sports Talk. Those of you driving home this afternoon, we're going to make your ride just a little bit better, maybe not shorter, but overall just a little bit better with things we have to tell you. A lot of stuff going on, a chaotic Monday from a personnel standpoint. Catch you up on everything going on there. We're going to talk about the South Carolina spring game with Matt Smith, who was there on Friday nights. I was down at Harbortown for what turned out to be a terrific RBC Heritage. What great competition, back and forth action. It was really very, very compelling. And, of course, an outstanding championship level winner and a great effort there made by a South Carolina native trying to win his first PGA event. All great stuff there down at Harbortown. Great setting. They did a tremendous job as always. Huge crowd, sold out event. Safe to say the RBC Heritage is in great shape down at South Carolina. Happy to be down there to watch it and cover it. And now I've returned to the mainland grudgingly. Chris Bergen didn't want to come home, had to come home. 4 days in Harbortown, 4 days at Hilton Head will do that to you.
There's no doubt. And from what CBS is bragging throughout, and they were glowing coverage throughout the weekend on Harbortown and the RBC Heritage and Hilton Head, obviously just the gorgeous nature of that golf course, but said it was the largest crowd ever to attend the RBC Heritage. And I think Novak may have had a lot to do with that since he probably invited half the state down there to watch him. And I've got nothing against Justin Thomas. I've always liked him, respected his game. He's got mad game. I mean, really terrific player. But he sort of had to put on the black hat yesterday here in our state trying to beat back a South Carolina. And I was so hoping that Novak was going to pull that out, and probably should have in regulation missed a very makeable putt and then just opened the door for Justin Thomas to win in the playoff. But I just thought the golf was outstanding, especially between those two down the stretch.
Yeah, and you had some other guys kind of make a run there for a little bit. Scotty Scheffler got hot until he had his issue on 15. Boy, he tried to go over the trees from that far away fairway bunker, and I don't know if he called it maybe a little bit fat or whatever, just didn't have enough get up and go and landed in the water. You saw Thomas play out of the water. Did you see that shot where he tried to play out of the water? Of course, keep in mind, had he not penalized himself back on Saturday for the ball moving while he was in a waste bunker, that cost him a penalty. Never would have gotten to the playoff. Yep. But anyway, it was just great drama. What you like to see in a golf tournament, great drama. Andrew Novak put up a great fight. He's going to win eventually. He's going to win on the PGA Tour. He's been on the leaderboard and came very close this time around. So we'll hear from both of them, Thomas and Novak, coming up a little bit later. Hear from Shane Beamer as well, some of his thoughts from Friday night's South Carolina spring football game. And, of course, Jim Toman will join us here at the bottom of the second hour, just a bit outside with Coach Jim Toman. Recap the baseball weekend where South Carolina finally won an SEC series. Shows you what you can do with a little bit of starting pitching. And they got two really good starts. Not a good third start, too much to ask for, but they got two really good starts. And Clemson won its series with Louisville. So the Tigers continue to reign supreme, right at the top of the ACC with Florida State. All that coming up. Your phone calls, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky number for to reach us here. You can also text messages on our text message line, brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. That text message line is 803-900-4847. Before we get to Smitty and his thoughts on the spring game, just a few of the headlines from the day, because it was a busy, busy day. So South Carolina picks up the transfer from Mongolia, from Utah, from San Francisco, and from Dayton. This will be his fourth Division I college, but nobody seems to care about those kind of things any longer. Mike Sherajams will be joining South Carolina, announcing through his agent today that he's transferring. More on him coming up. He is a 6'9" big guard who has guard skills. Just watching some of his video, he definitely can handle the basketball. He definitely can shoot off the move. He definitely can put a spin move on you and pull up for a jumper. I don't know why he hasn't had better numbers for his career. But he's coming to South Carolina. Jordan Butler announced he's coming back to South Carolina for another season. So he and Miles Studi, they make up the returning cast at South Carolina. Everybody else is gone. And Studi is supposedly coming back. He has gotten his approval from the NCAA, clearance of his waiver. He just has to get fully healthy and cleared by the doctors. If all that happens, then he plans to come back. And then on the football side, one of those young offensive linemen that South Carolina signed in the 24 class, Cam Pringle, maybe the most ballyhooed of the group, is transferring out after not making a lot of progress. So he's announced he's putting his name in the transfer portal. I don't know. You rush things. Offensive linemen take time. Not everybody's a Justin Thompson who can step right in and start from the very beginning. Those are few and far between for offensive linemen. 6'8", 335 pounds, and I don't know if he was pushed out the door or you just saw the handwriting on the wall and felt like he wasn't going to get a chance to develop and play at South Carolina, Bergie. But your best offensive lineman, as I was once told by an offensive line coach, big beards and big butts.
Exactly. And he's got both, right? I mean, just a gigantic human being.
I don't think he has a beard.
Well, that's probably true. He's, 19, 20 years old. He may be getting close to getting beard status. But, yeah, that one surprised me a little bit. I realized he hadn't played much, but, it takes a while to develop into an SEC offensive lineman. There are very few Josiah Thompson guys that are ready to go right off the bat when they show up on campus as he's been. But, yeah, I'm a little surprised that he wasn't able to find his way into the rotation a little bit more than he has been. Played in one game, man, that was their matchup with Akron, I think is the only time he's actually seen the field. And I'm sure you'll get to this, but the one news note in terms of the transfer portal that shocked the heck out of me today is Ian Shefflin from Clemson into the transfer portal. What are we doing?
He and Zachary both put their names into the transfer portal from Clemson they're doing it just in case there's a ruling that gives them another year of eligibility. He's also going to be testing the NBA as well.
Right.
So this is a move to just be in a position to have another year. Now, would they come back to Clemson?
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, would they come back to Clemson? Has Clemson already recruited their positions and filled their positions? I mean, what do you do if you're Brad Brownell?
If Ian Shefflin tells me he wants to come back, I get somebody out of there. I'm bringing Shefflin back. He's too important to their team. If there's an opportunity for him to play another season at Clemson, you make that happen if you're Brad Brownell. Yeah. That's an easy answer.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Right now, they don't have any eligibility as things stand right now. There has to be, I think it has to do with the judge ruling on the settlement, and that hasn't all been ironed out yet. They're still trying to put in all the particulars of what the roster, she's got an issue with the roster sizes that the lawyers for the defendants are pushing for. She has an issue with that. And maybe this eligibility question is something that she's going to have to do something about as well in this settlement. So they're sort of taking a precautionary move here, I would say.
Now, would they have to have an answer one way or the other before the NBA draft?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how all this is going to work.
Especially for somebody like Shefflin, who I think will be drafted in one of the 2 rounds, don't you?
I would think. Yeah. I would think, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I think that if they're not drafted, then they do have other options like the G League.
Sure.
They got other options they can go to. So I just think they're just making sure they've got someplace they'll have an opportunity should there be a ruling that they get another year of eligibility. Both of these guys are 4-year guys. Played all 4 years. And, there's a proposal. They're talking about having in fact, I think it's that judge. Go back and look at some of the notes. I think it's the judge there who's ruling on this thing who is questioning why there's any limits to eligibility. I mean, I just think she wants this thing to be wide open. And you can go play college ball as long as you're making that money and you're in college. And if you find yourself in a position to go make more money in the regular pros, the legacy pros, and I guess you take that step. Otherwise, you can just stay in college as long as the college will have you.
Is that what we want in college? Do we want them to? Is that? Or are we headed there?
It doesn't matter.
Is that going to be a job?
It doesn't matter what we want.
No, I'm just talking about we in general.
Well, I'm just saying
when college fans want to see Ian Shefflin play 10 years with the Clemson Tigers.
I don't know that it matters. The judges look at what they think the law is, and they make their rulings accordingly, without regard of the unintended consequences. Seriously, we talked about this last week. The judges made the ruling on various things here, and the unintended consequences. I think, sort of where we are now with the way, I mean, did they foresee the money free-flying the way it is? Did they foresee the complete free agency for college athletes, some of whom are going to their 4th and 5th schools, some of whom sign an agreement and the same day back out on the agreement and sign an agreement with another school? I mean, it's just complete it is a form of chaos. It's not really a controlled chaos. It's an absolute chaos out there in terms of trying to run an organization that is college sports. If you think of college sports under the umbrella of some kind of an organization. It is complete chaos right now from a personnel standpoint. You know, we have March Madness. I came up with a name. We have March Madness, right, that I created. And then we have baseball. In May, we have Mayhem, which I created. So April, I'm going to call Asinine April.
I was going to say, be careful.
We've gone from March Madness to Asinine April and then to Mayhem
I love
for
it.
baseball. So we're in the middle of Asinine April, and that's what it is. It's asinine. What's going on? So the Tennessee quarterback, Nico, now apparently, formally, officially, is transferring to UCLA. And now the guy from Appalachian State, how do you pronounce it?
Joey Aguilar.
Aguilar, good quarterback who transferred to UCLA to be their starter. He's now transferring out, and they're saying he may end up at Tennessee. So, I mean, it's just
so they got a trade.
It's just crazy. I don't know. Did they get a trade? Who got the better deal?
Based on what I've seen on the field, I don't know that it may be an even swap.
I mean, Aguilar,
Joey Aguilar can play.
Yeah,
he can flat out play.
Yeah. Clemson did a good job against him. I don't think they did much offensively against
No.
Clemson. That's when Clemson had their huge offensive game. But we have a lot of that stuff going on now. A busy day from that standpoint. Let's go to Matt Smith now. Smitty joining us. He was at the South Carolina spring game on Friday night. Apparently about 36,000, according to South Carolina, in attendance as they filled up the lower section of one side of the stadium and some of the upper deck and also that end zone area. Smitty, welcome in. What did you take away from the Gamecock spring game?
Well, a lot and nothing, and I hope I can properly explain that. But having seen both the Clemson and South Carolina spring games, I'm really torn on what even advice I would give teams and as to how to hold them, because Clemson played offense versus defense. And so one of the things you got is the first team offensive linemen got to work together and play together and block for your first team quarterback. And then you could work in different combinations that you might see during the season. Whereas South Carolina did a true split squad with a draft. And so now you're in a position, and I think anybody could see the problems, where you were going to have a walk-on left tackle trying to block Dylan Stewart. Well, now nobody can get anything done. We can't write anything. Quarterbacks can't get a snap. Nothing can happen because Dylan Stewart's in the backfield. And especially if you decide to blitz, and there's no running game to speak of. So you could see the issues with that, but we were still able to, I think, take away some things from individuals that we were able to see. And look, Lenore Sellers, I don't really think there's much to say about his performance. I mean, his numbers were pedestrian. He only played on a couple of drives, and that was fine because the way this is set up, it's not set up for him because it's one-hand tag on the quarterback. And anybody can tell you that Lenore Sellers, it's all about escapability. Ask Clemson last year what getting one hand on Lenore Sellers actually does in real game time and game speed. It does next to nothing. So, therefore, Jackson Berger would get a sack. We're watching. So, Sellers, Stewart, you can't take anything out of what you saw Friday night except this. They both got the MVPs for their sides, offensive and defensive MVP, not for the game, for practice, for spring practice, which means your best and most talented players are living up to their coaches' expectations during practice. So, that's what we saw. To me, here's the big story. Two big stories coming out of the spring game. One is the backup quarterback position. Luke Doty played more than a half at quarterback and took 0 snaps at wideout. And Beamer said afterward, when he was questioned about this, that Luke Doty is absolutely, positively in the running for the number 2 quarterback job. So with all of these new faces in the quarterback room, I think we all thought, okay, well, one of these guys will step up, Aaron Nolan, or maybe a freshman, or maybe Dante Reno emerges. We don't know, but somebody's going to take this number 2 job. But Beamer said he really likes Doty's experience and leadership. And look, we can talk through this, and you guys are obviously going to talk through it when I've said my piece, but if Lenore Sellers goes down with a sprained ankle, as he did last season, is it possible that Doty is the best choice because he's similar in style and he can come in and you don't have to change everything, and you just kind of keep doing what you were doing with Sellers. Is that what you do? But if you do that, that means a couple of things. One, Luke Doty, it means that he's probably just going to be a backup quarterback and on the sideline most of the time, not contributing elsewhere, which means he's going to be sort of like Bakarian Joyner, just come and go in his South Carolina career without ever getting a clearly established role, which to me is sad for him, who's a guy who's been there that long. And it also means, okay, that Aaron Nolan didn't come in and just grab the opportunity and impress to the level that he's going to be your backup quarterback. So, to me, a lot goes into the fact that Luke Doty is not playing any wide receiver and took so many snaps at quarterback in the spring game. Also, you probably heard by now, Cutter Woods impressed. And Beamer said afterward, that's who he is. He's a gamer. His very first pass was a 51-yard completion to Vandrevius Jacobs. And, Corn, I know you covered him in high school as well. This is what he did in high school. He's just that kind of guy. Now, does all of that translate? How quickly does it translate? And could he play at the SEC level if Sellers went down with an injury this season? I don't think anybody, including the coaches, he thinks he can based on his confidence, but I don't know if anybody else really knows the answer to that. So I think that's what's leading to Doty really being in that number 2 position. Quickly, the other story, yes, all the things you've heard about the young wide receivers are true in terms of their athleticism, their quickness. The numbers weren't very big, but we saw Malik Clark make a couple of plays. He's as advertised. He's a good player. Vandrevius Jacobs, 85 yards receiving, including the big one from Woods. He's a veteran you can count on. Jared Brown should be a veteran you can count on. Nick Harbor was barely out there, but probably doesn't need to be. Jaden Sellers caught a couple of passes, didn't get loose in the open field as a lot of people would have hoped, and he didn't play with his brother either, so we didn't see a lot of Jaden Sellers, frankly. And Brian Rowe Jr. made a couple of plays. So you mix in the veterans and all those guys, that also may be part of the reason that Luke Doty is playing at quarterback, just because there's going to be a logjam at wide receiver, and which of those guys who I just mentioned there, which of those talented young players is able to come in and play early, because you always see this. We saw it with Xavier Legette. There's always talented guys that can't play right away, but then may emerge later. And then there's also another group of talented guys that come in and just kind of catch on with the starting quarterback, develop chemistry, and they find a way to contribute in the first year. So that's kind of the offense. Defense looked good across the board, but it was a mix of a lot of different names. Jerron Willis, and I mentioned Dylan Stewart, certainly showed out. They were just the pass rush was good overall. Jatius Greer and players like that. We didn't get to see Jalen Kilgore out there. He was injured. But you saw a lot of different names contribute defensively, and the defense was a little better than the offense. So that was a positive. Special teams, Mason Love did a nice job in both roles. Beamer admitted he's concerned about special teams because they're going to have a new kicker, new punter, new long snapper, new punt returner. And everybody knows 2 seasons ago, special teams, major strengths of the Gamecocks. Last year, a mix. Heading into this season, it's a question mark. But Mason Love was good. And quickly, the running back spot, no one has separated according to Beamer. I think we all agree Oscar Attaway the third should be serviceable. Rasul Faison, the transfer from Utah State, brings in some big numbers. Should be serviceable, should be good enough. I was impressed with Matthew Fuller in limited time. Didn't put up big numbers, but he was just one of those guys that jumps out at you. And Beamer mentioned him in his post-game comments, which you'll hear a little bit later on as well.
Very good. You touched on all the topics I had in my head, including the place kicker and the punter in Love, and I think maybe they have their guy there based on, a little bit of what he did in the spring game, but also what he did all spring long. Not a whole heck of a lot of offense in the game, so it's because things are so limited, and the defense has the advantage, of course, of just being able to reach out and touch and stop the quarterback that way. It takes us to our poll question of the week, and our poll question of the week is brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance here in Columbia. His phone number 803-799-1998. Make sure you give Larry a phone call to talk to Larry or a member of the staff to get all the help you need with your insurance questions. Gamecocks wrapped up spring football. What's your feeling about USC winning the 2025 SEC championship? Yes, I took it there. Why shouldn't they think big? Why shouldn't they think they can win the SEC championship? I'm sure Shane Beamer is thinking about winning the SEC championship. So, of the votes in so far, the 4 answers are more optimistic, less optimistic, about the same, never felt they would win. So, 50% say about the same, 33.3% say never felt they would win it, 16.7% say they are more optimistic. What do you think? Should Gamecock fans be more? Should they be optimistic about winning an SEC championship this season? The schedule's the schedule. It's always going to be the schedule, so forget the schedule. Are they good enough after what they did last year, what they have coming back, what they have brought in? Should fans be optimistic about winning an SEC championship this year, Bergie?
I think they should certainly be optimistic that they can contend. Now, whether or not they should be optimistic enough that they could actually win an SEC championship, something they've never done, and only been to the championship game once. I mean, it takes a lot, and some things will have to fall their way. First off, clearly they'll have to stay healthy, so that's one thing coming out of the spring it looks like they accomplished. I don't think there were any significant injuries that they're going to have to deal with, so that was good. Now you get to the next phase. Outside of the news today, how many other guys are they going to lose to the portal? And it brings, if Smitty's still with us, I thought he recapped it so well we don't have to watch whatever publication they're going to put out later.
That's right.
I just got as much from the spring game as if I were there. So Smitty did a terrific job, and I know Coach Beamer will yell at Phil the next time he sees him because he didn't want to break out a depth chart. But from what you saw from Cutter Woods, I mean, don't you think he's past Luke Doty as the guy who would be the backup going into the fall?
Got 30 seconds, Smitty.
I don't think you can tell from that. I thought Doty was in control, so he was good. Cutter Woods just flashed. I mean, he threw an interception as well, and I think the thought process from Beamer is, hey, if we're on the road, at Ole Miss, at LSU, are we really going to put a freshman in that spot? I'd rather have Doty in that spot.
You know what the greatest development of the entire spring football practice season was? I was able to avoid going to both Clemson and South Carolina spring games. First time in my life that's happened, but I pulled it off, and I was darn happy. Thank you, Smitty. Great job. We'll hear from Beamer coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy, a bit muggy this evening with a low temp dipping to 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 20% chance we get some late afternoon scattered showers, and we'll have a high of 87. For Wednesday and Thursday, it's up to 50% chance for those afternoon storms. High temperatures will be in the low 80s both days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Harvard University has announced that it has filed suit to halt a federal freeze on more than $2.2 billion in grants after the institution said it would defy the Trump administration's demands to limit activism on campus. It said the suit was filed Monday in Boston federal court. The Trump administration had recently called in a letter to Harvard for broad government and leadership reforms at the university, as well as changes to its admissions policies. Authorities say a shootout in front of a family courthouse between several Texas deputies and a man with a handgun wounded a deputy and the suspect. An official with Harris County Precinct 1 Constable's office said one of his officers' deputies was shot and has been taken to a hospital in stable condition. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, this is Kev with my good friend Ken from over at Broker Solar, and he really is a good friend. I've known Ken's family for more than 20 years. All right, so how many people lost power for an extended time back when we had that hurricane come through here, right? You got the solution, though, Ken, the solar-powered batteries.
The battery with solar system is essential. Not only can you back up your loads in an emergency event like a power outage, but you can also control the peak times that you use power, and the batteries can kick in to supplement your power usage. With our solar batteries, you can back up the home just like a generator would, but run it off the clean energy from the sun, which we get every single day. So no need to refill the gas, propane tanks, all powered by the sun.
Remember, Broker Solar is local. You make the call, the investment is worth it. How do the Point listeners find you over at Broker Solar, Ken?
The best way is going to be through brokersolar.com. Plenty of contact us buttons, but the phone number to reach us at would be 803-807-7417.
Are you ready to have a boatload of fun this spring? Sail on down to your local Palmetto State Armory store and deck yourself out in our new lifestyle t-shirts, hats, and fishing shirts. Seize the day with brands like Hey Dudes, Costa, Turtle Box, Local Boy, and more. Our selection of rifles, pistols, and shotguns is sure to impress. So don't be left fishing for something to wear once the warmer weather has arrived. Check out one of our 9 retail locations or PalmettoStateArmory.com to outfit your next adventure.
Relax, your banking should be easy. You'll love our free checking account with e-statements from Founders Federal Credit Union. You get everything you need. No monthly fees, no stress. Founders Online makes it easy to securely and seamlessly switch your direct deposit in minutes. It uses the latest in online encryption technology to gather and store your switch information. Additionally, Founders adheres to the highest industry standards to keep your personal information safe. Still waiting to switch? No worries. Apply today for an account and enjoy your secure, convenient banking with Founders. Already have an account? Founders Online lets you transfer your direct deposit in just a few clicks. Let Founders be your trusted financial partner. Visit one of our convenient locations or go to foundersfcu.com/checking to get started today. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Sports Talk every weeknight from 6 to 8, feeling just right. Phil, Chris, and Josh, they're in the zone across South Carolina. They're well known. Sports Talk, bringing the heat, talking sports can't be beat. Tune in, don't you pout, it's the show you can't live without. Phil Cornblood with the latest news, Chris Bergen sharing his views, Josh Cole.
All right, we're back. Can we get the name right at least? If we're going to pay somebody to, give us little songs in the show, can we get the name right?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's the Sports Talk Orchestra.
I mean, come on, we got to get the name right.
Phonetically spell Phil's last name, Josh. Moving forward, come on.
Let's get it right in the future. All right, welcome back in. We just heard from Matt Smith talking about South Carolina's spring game on Friday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. Seems like it was a great setting and a great event for everybody. South Carolina did a great job hosting prospects. Good turnout of fans, maybe great turnout of fans. 36,000 is what they reported, 36,000 plus. Beautiful night for it, and they had fireworks display. In other words, it was a big success. No injuries. That was the other thing. So just to wrap it up, let's go to Shane Beamer. Actually, Shane Beamer tonight is in Florence. He's got the first of his stops around the state where he's visiting with the Gamecock supporters. So tonight they are in Florence. But here he is from after the game late Friday night talking about really the spring in general, his team coming out of the spring, getting ready for that what he hopes will be a championship run in 2025.
It was a lot of fun and a good culmination to a really good spring.
as well. Saw a lot of young guys get out and make plays tonight. Probably just the most disappointing thing is just how sloppy we were, and we haven't looked like that all spring. So it's almost like we got out here tonight in a stadium and under the lights, and we lost our minds in so many ways. I mean, I just told the team in there, and just by my count, we had a false start, we had an offsides, we had a bad snap, we had a drop, we had another false start, we had another false start, we had an illegal formation, we had a delay of game, or we called a timeout to avoid a delay of game. We had another illegal formation. We had a penalty for clapping on defense, which we know is illegal, and we looked like we have never caught a punt in our lives out there tonight. But the good news is that's why you have a spring game and you do it in front of a crowd, so we can hopefully get that out of our system, because I think we have a chance to be a good football team, but we are nowhere near good enough to have that many self-inflicted mistakes, and not even get into the sacks and turnovers, to have that many self-inflicted mistakes and think that we're going to win games. So we've got to get that cleaned up. But again, we've caught punts really well for the most part this spring. We've not had those pre-snap issues like we had, and certainly being in a stadium tonight affected us. But again, that's why you do a spring game, and hopefully that's out of our system, and we'll be better going forward, because there's going to be a lot of lights in Mercedes-Benz Stadium when we play Virginia Tech. There's going to be a lot more people in the crowd when we play Virginia Tech, and it's going to be a lot more intense when we play Virginia Tech in 133 days from now. So we got a lot of work to do from that standpoint, but overall pleased with the spring, and we got better, like the young talent. A lot of those guys flashed tonight and made plays, and we got out of the game injury-free, so pleased about that. This week, our guys are still in class this week, so we'll be able to do a little bit of football work this week with our guys on Tuesday and Thursday, kind of get back out on the field, not practicing, but just being able to get back out on the field and review some things, maybe install some things that we didn't get to during spring practice. But to be back out on the field with our guys, and then classes end and exams start, and they'll have a little bit of time off in May, and then they'll be back here on Memorial Day, team meeting on that Monday night, and then we start summer school the very next day. But we got a chance to have a good team. We're on the right track. We made progress this spring and have to get a lot better this summer, but pleased with where we are right now.
Cutter Woods, had a couple of long passes there on that touchdown drive. Just how do you think he looked and, kind of handled the moment as a freshman?
Yeah, Cutter is a certain guys, when the lights come on, they just elevate their games, and that's Cutter Woods. He's a winner. You go back to what he did in high school at West Side, and I remember watching him play in the state championship game against South Florence in 2023. When he won it, and some of the plays he made in that game, you're like, wow. And that's just he's got a chance to be a really good player. He's had a really good spring for us. I go back to some of the team stuff we do in the offseason and just watching him in our team wiffle ball tournament. You just see him in that, like his ability to hit, his ability to pitch in wiffle ball. He's got something about him. There's no question about it. Certainly there's plays he'd like to have back tonight, but he's got a chance to be a really good player, and he just enjoys being out there. He's always got a smile on his face, and I remember I was telling somebody last week, for about 20 plays, we made the quarterbacks live in our scrimmage last week where they could be tackled, and here's a guy fresh out of high school going against an SEC defense, knowing he's about to get hit by Dylan Stewart and these guys, and he's just out there smiling and having the time of his life last week. So he has fun playing the game, and excited about his progress this spring, and all those quarterbacks as well.
Sticking on the quarterbacks, there's times where it's kind of tough to tell what Luke Doty is going to be doing on a year-to-year, month-to-month basis. Is he really vying for that backup quarterback job right now?
Absolutely.
What did you like from his performance tonight, and what we saw tonight, is that what he's been doing all spring?
Yeah, Luke's had a really good spring. He's just a really good football player. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. He makes our team better, whether he's playing receiver, whether he's playing special teams, whether he's playing quarterback. He makes us better. And I'm glad he came back. Here's a guy that he wants to be a Gamecock, and never hesitated. He wanted to come back, and he's just having a lot of fun. He and I talked about it today. He's having fun, and he knows this is kind of his last go round, and he brings a confidence to the team. I mean, even yesterday we had a little period where he's out there like literally in the middle of the play while the play is going on. He's talking junk to the defense like literally while the play is happening, and he's just got that. He's a high energy guy, but he can make plays. He's athletic. He's improving as a passer. He knows he's got to improve there, but he can get himself out of trouble, and he's an athlete. He can create, and most importantly, he has experience. And the rest of that quarterback room is young. Dante Reno is in his second year in college. Aaron Nolan's in his first year in college, counting his semester at Ohio State. Cutter Woods is in his first semester in college. Jimmy Francis is in his first or second year in college. Luke's in his seventh, sixth, not his first as well, but he's kind of the old guy, but he brings a quiet, confident, or not quiet, he brings a loud confidence to the team, and kind of excited to see what the next step is for him.
You mentioned some of the young guys. What about the receivers tonight? Brian Rowe had a couple big moments. Malik Clark, some big catches tonight.
Same thing with those guys that I said about Cutter. There's some guys that just, elevate their games, and those receivers, I know a lot has been elevate their games and when the lights come on, and I think those receivers are certainly one of them. They've really had a nice spring. Coach Mike Furry's done a great job with those guys, and they just continue to get better. Lenoris and I were talking about it this morning. You think about it, so many of our receivers weren't even here for spring practice last year, meaning the ones we played with. Dale Vaughn Campbell didn't get here till the summertime. Nick Harbour was running track. Dre Jacobs didn't get here until the summertime. So the fact that he's got all these receivers here, except for Donovan Murph, were here for spring practice. Those receivers certainly went through some growing pains, but they got better, and they have a confidence about them. That was a big time play that both those guys made as well, and they've been making plays like that all spring. So we're excited about that group and our receiver position. There's more talent in that room right now than there's ever been in my time here at Carolina, and that freshman class is impressive, and really not just the receiving core freshman class, but the entire freshman class. I mean, you just go from offense to defense. The young guys we have, I mean, they've had really good spring. Shed Surratt got an award tonight for being the newcomer of the spring. Anthony Addison on defense easily could have been that guy on defense. We gave it to Brandon Cisse as a transfer, but all these freshmen, there's a maturity about them, and they love to compete. And I think you see it sometimes in recruiting. Sometimes there's recruits that are hesitant to go to a school like, oh my God, like, You signed one or two or three receivers. We signed 6 last year, and not a single one of those guys said, oh, man, you signed 5 other receivers. I'm going to go somewhere else. They all said, great, let's go compete, and may the best man come out of this thing, and that's refreshing to see. Sometimes you see that in recruiting where recruits tell you, you got a lot of receivers in that room, coach, or you got a lot of DBs in that room, coach. I really like it, but I'm going to go somewhere else, and those guys didn't. They're like, great. More the better, and let's go compete. And they've made each other better, and they've made the other players in their room, the returning guys, the other returning receivers, the older guys on the defensive line, the older guys in the secondary. All those freshmen that we've brought in have made the older guys better with the way that they've embraced competition here at Carolina.
You just mentioned there were a lot of punts tonight. Mason obviously kicked a ton tonight. I know you mentioned the other day the idea of him doing the kicking, the punting, the holding. It's doable in your eyes. After what you saw out of him tonight, I know it's a spring game and the season still has a long way to go, but do you feel more confident in the idea of him doing that?
Yeah. 13 punts or whatever it is on the stat sheet wasn't ideal for sure. No, I do. He's a guy, he's been around Jack. He's been in the program for a year now. He was behind, worked with Kai and Alex and our other specialists last year. And it was good to see him tonight make a field goal, have some nice punts, but I called them all out to, get the team around them and try and create some pressure situations. He answered the call on that one. It's doable. I wish I felt a little bit better about, all of our specialists coming out of spring practice than I do. And the fact of the matter is we're going to have a new holder, we're going to have a new kicker, we're going to have a new punter, we're going to have a new snapper, we're going to have a new punt returner, and we're going to have a new kickoff returner. And that's concerning, and tonight didn't help in some ways as well. They're going to be fine as we go through the summer. But we certainly got to get that cleaned up. But in regards to your question about Mason, yeah, I mean, I think it's doable. And I know I told you it's not ideal, and it's not. I kind of wish you had one kicker, one punter, but we've done it in the past, and we'll do what's best for the team. But we'll always be looking to see how we can, if there's other ways to. You want other guys to continue to come along too. So that competition in that room is stiff, and they're still competing throughout as we come out of spring.
You hit on some of the sacks in your opening statement, but what was your overall assessment of your defensive line tonight, and any individuals stand out to you there?
I thought they were good. Hard to tell. I mean, like I said, when we did the draft, it was so broke up. You had guys, kind of everywhere, and it was basically a 3-man rotation at defensive end on both teams, and a 3-man rotation at defensive tackle on both teams. So those guys were rolling out of there pretty consistently, and. Hard to say without watching the tape. I thought they, flashed at times, and Anthony Addison is a young guy that's can be a problem for offensives because he's got great twitch and get off. And I know he drew he drew one holding penalty tonight on that last drive, and probably should have drawn another one. I noticed him a little bit, but overall those guys have had a good spring. Obviously. You lose 4 defensive tackles in Boogie, Tonka, TJ, and Jules. Those are 4 big losses, and that's a position that everybody's looking at. But I do feel better about that defensive tackle position coming out of spring than what I did going into it. I feel like Rondo Porter and Nick Barrett and Gabe and Monkel Goodwin's had a really good spring. Those guys have all done some nice things.
Another position with a lot of competition is the running back room. How would you assess Attaway, Fuller, and all the other running backs that performed today?
Yeah, seeing who all got carries, Hal, Faison, the Kraken, Fuller, Neil Salvage, Oscar Attaway, they all did some good things. Right now coming out of spring, if you said, okay, who's your top 5? It's a combination of Oscar Attaway, Jawarn Howell, Matthew Fuller, Sewell, and Bradley Dunn. Those are kind of our top 5 coming out of spring practice, and we'll see how the summer, shakes out. They've all done some good things. They all need to have a big summer. I noticed Matthew Fuller tonight. Matt's going to be a good player for us. He's a load, and when people try and tackle him, it feels and looks different the way he's able to move the pile. For sure, and whatnot. But those guys are making each other better. Going back to the whole competition thing, that room is extremely competitive, and we're really just kind of looking for one guy to just seize this thing and say, I'm going to be the guy. And they've all flashed, but we just need to see that more consistently as we go through the summer.
All right, USC football coach Shane Beamer. If you missed it Friday night or tonight, all of it's up on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and of course it's in podcast form as well for you, Spotify, SoundCloud in particular. After the break, we'll give you the recruiting report tonight. A lot of stuff to catch up on from recruiting. We'll have coverage from the RBC Heritage, comments from Thomas and Novak coming up. Also, we'll have, of course, our visit with Coach Jim Toman, talking college baseball from the weekend. Are the Gamecocks going to make a run here down the stretch? We'll be back.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
G3 here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and it's time for a fall preview. That's right, 720 Chris Drive, 378 and I-26, Frontage Road, where you can now preview the best technology for golf known to man. It's the Tsunami Bar. It's live weight. It's the only technology out where you get your tempo and flow going before you play. Now, it also serves as a pattern support tool. 720 Chris Drive, Frontage Road, 378 and I-26. You also can visit the Garage Gym Pro Shop. Pick up your tools, take them home, and while you're here, tour the Scramble Course 6-hole pitch and putt right now.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Okay, another week, another glorious week of the Seawell's Daily Luncheon Buffet begins tomorrow. So if you're thinking about, what am I going to do for lunch tomorrow? How many of us, Bergie, are already thinking about lunch tomorrow?
I am.
Yeah. I am too.
I finished dinner, and I've already had dinner, so
Right.
and I rarely eat breakfast. So yeah, let's go. Lunch is next.
You're already thinking about lunch tomorrow. If you're thinking about lunch tomorrow, it's worth the drive, whether you're coming up from the beach or coming down from the mountains, or you're lucky enough to live right here in the Midlands. Seawell's is your only stop for a great lunch at a great price from 11 till 2 right there across from the State Fairgrounds. And you need superb catering, then Seawell's, they are the people to call for that. 803-771-7385. SeawellsCateringSC.com. Yeah, Plummer and I here, he's eventually going to graduate from high school. Is that this year? How many years? Don't you kind of run out? Or do you get are you like college athletes, you can just stay in high school as long as you want to?
I've already been in long enough, but I've used up my years of eligibility.
So you're having a party, huh?
I'm going to use Seawell's, that's for sure. I'm going to have a roast beef party.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just don't invite me.
idea.
Whatever you do, leave me off the invitation list. No invite means no present. So that's kind of what I'm pushing for here. That's my philosophy, Bergie. No invite, no present. And I'm okay with that.
Fair. That's fair.
I'm good with that. All right. Got a lot to do here. South Carolina offered another quarterback in the 27 class. They'd previously offered Trent Seaborn from Alabaster, Alabama. Now they've offered J.C. Johnson, 6'5", 205 from Valdosta, Georgia. He was at USC for the spring game. SMU, Virginia Tech, Georgia, Arkansas, Auburn, Pitt, Ole Miss, Florida, Florida State, Tennessee, and others have also offered. As we mentioned at the outset, redshirt freshman offensive lineman Cam Pringle, 6'8", 336 is how he's listed, is transferring. He posted on his Instagram account this afternoon his intention to transfer. He's the first USC player to announce a transfer since the end of spring practice on Friday night. He had a couple of others prior to. He signed with the Gamecocks in the 24 class after an all-star career at Woodland, Shrine Bowl selection, touted by some as the state's top prospect that season, committed to the Gamecocks January 22nd, 2023, chose them over Clemson, NC State, Georgia, and Florida. Had many other big-time offers. He's got 4 years of eligibility left. Here are some of the prospects who were at South Carolina Friday night. Offensive tackle Malcolm Gaston, North Augusta. Defensive end Julian Walker of Dutch Fork. Running back Carson Baker, Fairburn, Georgia. Defensive tackle Brian Harris, Jacksonville. Cornerback Quincy Grant, Ridgeview. Offensive tackle Desmond Green of Timberland. To the 27 class, quarterback J.C. Johnson, Valdosta, Georgia. 27, offensive tackle Nate Carson of Irmo. Defensive end Josiah Fields of Charlotte. Offensive tackle Kyson Mallard of Albany, Georgia, 6'7", 320. Defensive end Jaden Bryan of Irmo. Offensive tackle Ty Johnson, Lucy Beckham. Defensive end Casey Green, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Linebacker Jalathan Mayfield of that Athletic Factory, Lincolnton, North Carolina.
That's what I'm talking about.
Cornerback Joshua Dobson, Catawba Ridge, offered by Florida today, by the way. Receiver Jaden Kelly Murray of Somerville. Offensive tackle Joshua Sam Appel. He's only 6'9", 340, Douglasville, Georgia. Receiver Christian Jackson, Ridgeview. Cornerback Kennedy Green, Douglasville, Georgia. Running back Nixon Willis, Mooresville, North Carolina. Defensive end Seth Tillman, South Point. Receiver Sequel Patterson of Indianland. Defensive end, I already said him. Quarterback, already said him. 2028 wide receiver Teru Davis of Somerville, who's very fast. And offensive lineman Terrence Brandon from Douglasville, Georgia. Those are in the 28 class. South Carolina quarterback target Brady Smigel was at Michigan for their spring game. Clemson target offensive tackle Leo Delaney was at Penn State Friday. South Carolina target safety K.J. Johnson of Birmingham was at Ole Miss over the weekend. South Carolina target offensive tackle Micah Smith was at UCLA. Irmo offensive tackle 27 class Nate Carson was offered by Duke Saturday while on a visit. 27 receiver Sequel Patterson of Indianland was offered by West Virginia and Michigan. 27 running back David Segura of Burns was offered by Maryland. Christ Church receiver Jude Hall was at Memphis over the weekend. Former Gamecock defensive end Wendell Gregory headed to Oklahoma State. Timberland product North Greenville and Austin Peay transfer safety Gavin Edwards offered by Maryland, Wake Forest, and Iowa. We'll give you the basketball info after the break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The death of Pope Francis sets the gears in motion for a period of public mourning and a new papal conclave to follow.
Cardinals are coming to Rome from around the world to participate in that funeral mass, as are heads of state. Then the conclave procedures begin. There are a few days of closed meetings. These are when the cardinals get together and meet in secret. They're receiving reports from all the different Vatican offices of what the financial situation is, what the problems are facing the church around the world, and what are the qualities that are needed to bring the church forward. At a certain point, they stop those meetings and the conclave begins.
That's correspondent Nicole Winfield reporting from the Vatican. Pope Francis died early this morning from a cerebral stroke and heart failure. An abortion clinic can reopen in Wyoming, according to a judge.
Wyoming's only abortion clinic is starting to provide abortions again after a judge suspended 2 state laws. One law requires abortion clinics to be licensed as outpatient surgical centers, and the other requires women planning a medication abortion to have an ultrasound. Wellspring Health Clinic in Casper, Wyoming, has not provided abortions since February 28th. That's because of the licensing law. Now, women will once again be able to get abortions in central Wyoming, while the two laws continue to be fought in court. The clinic and others are suing to challenge the laws and Wyoming abortion bans that were blocked by another judge. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Harvard University announced it's filed suit to halt a federal freeze on more than $2.2 billion in grants after the institution said it would defy the Trump administration's demands to limit activism on campus. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 971 points, more at Town Hall.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Despite criticism in court orders, President Donald Trump's policy of deporting foreign criminals remains overwhelmingly popular with voters. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
The latest Rasmussen Report's national telephone and online survey finds that 79% of likely U.S. voters believe it is important that illegal immigrants who committed crimes in America should be deported, including 56% who consider it very important. Only 17% don't think it's important. The survey of 1,061 U.S. likely voters was conducted on April 15th and 17th by Rasmussen Reports. The margin of sampling error was plus or minus 3 percentage points with a 95% level of confidence. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The gunman who killed 23 people in a racist attack at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, has pleaded guilty to capital murder. Patrick Crucius changed his plea Monday in a state district court and was sentenced to life in prison. News and analysis at Town Hall.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy, a bit muggy this evening with a low temp dipping to 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 20% chance we get some late afternoon scattered showers, and we'll have a high of 87. For Wednesday and Thursday, it's up to 50% chance for those afternoon storms. High temperatures will be in the low 80s both days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Sports Talk Media Network on this Monday night. Manic Monday night. Great to have you with us. Been busy. Haven't had a chance to take calls or even check out text messages. We'll get back to all of that maybe in a little bit. Phone number 888-898-2525. That's South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And the text line number is 803-900-4847. And, of course, it's beautiful in South Carolina, 85, 86 degrees. Feels like beach weather. I just left the beach, though I didn't see the beach at Harbortown because I was working my fingers to the bone. You think I go down there to play, Bergie? You think I go down there to eat at five-star restaurants, sleep in lavish hotel rooms,
You did get out on the golf course, though, correct?
I did. Absolutely,
Okay.
I did. Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to get to the beach. But when I get a chance to go to the beach, I like to go down to the Grand Strand. Now, Harbor Town, that's beautiful. It's not the Grand Strand. That's a different part of the beach. I like to go to the Grand Strand. You should go to the Grand Strand. And before you go to the Grand Strand, you should call Jimmy Smith. Let Jimmy Smith put you in something luxurious, something comfortable, something that fits your budget, something that takes care of all your needs for the people that you'll be bringing with you. His phone number is 843-237-4246 and online, pauliesvacationrentals.com. That's all you got to know. That's all you got to do for your perfect beach getaway. Jimmy Smith, James Smith Real Estate, 843-237-4246, online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. To the basketball world now of recruiting, because there's stuff there as well, as we mentioned at the outset. Well-traveled 6'9" big guard. You have to consider him a big guard. Mike Sherajams. Been practicing that all day.
Sherajams. No, jumps.
Sherajams.
At least according to the pronunciation guide I found.
Well,
from
I
one
listened,
of his previous stops.
I listened to YouTube play-by-play of him today.
That's not a bad option either.
And they called him Sherajams.
Sherajams, okay.
Sherajams. Might be Sherajams. But anyway,
Somewhere
6'9".
in there is correct.
He's 6'9", Mike Sherajams, and he plans to make South Carolina his final stop. The only Division I basketball player from Mongolia. Sherajams was announced Monday morning as a commitment to the Gamecocks by his agent through ESPN. He visited USC over the weekend. Sherajams, are there as many agents in this country as there are college athletes? Anyway.
And did he commit or did he sign?
This said
need
committed.
Clarification here.
This said committed. Sherajams has also played college basketball at Dayton, San Francisco, and Utah. In 99 games, 83 of which he has started, the big guard has averaged 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's a career 41% shooter from the floor, 33% from 3, 70% from the foul line. His best season came 2 years ago with the Dons. He averaged nearly 8 points per game, along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists. He shot 46% from the floor, 36% from 3, and 82% from the foul line. His career high in scoring is 19 points, which came against Queens early last season. He scored 6 points in a loss to Mississippi State in November. His high mark in Big 12 conference play was 15 points in a loss at UCF in February. I was trying to just kind of see how he did against the better competition. Sherajams is the 5th transfer and the 9th newcomer for the 2025 USC class. And as we also mentioned, Jordan Butler announced today that he's coming back for next season. Go ahead, sir.
Kind of surprised he didn't follow his former head coach, Todd Golden, to Florida.
Maybe he didn't want him.
That's a good possibility.
Don't know
Not that
why you
Florida
wouldn't.
needs any help.
The video that I watched, and of course these were highlights of him. He's got skills. He's definitely got skills.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was the first. See if I got this right in his bio. His dad was the first Asian to play for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Wow!
So he's got basketball in his bloodline. They're from Mongolia.
That's kinda cool.
I don't know, man. Mongolia. I mean, that's a part of China, right? Is that a part of China?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's separate? Is it a state of China or a separate country?
Now you're going to have to
Come on,
let me look
plumber.
up my geography
I
here.
thought you were educated. I always thought it was a part of China. What is it? Here we go. The plumber is going to speak.
It's a landlocked country in East Asia, so it's not a part of China, no.
It's near China.
It's bordered by
Yes.
China.
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. You've always watched those movies and stuff, right, about China and shipping people off to Mongolia, like in the winter months, you know. But obviously, that's not him. Obviously not him.
No, not at all.
One-time South Carolina signee, we hardly got to know you, 6'6", North Dakota transfer Trayson Eaglestaff committed to West Virginia. The Field of 68 reported, citing his agent. Of course, you know his story. Committed to South Carolina March 31st. South Carolina announced him as a signee the next day. April 16th, he announced he wasn't going to honor that signing. And so was looking at other options, and West Virginia was one of those that quickly popped up. Do you think there was any tampering going on here?
No. Not at all. This was totally above board, I'm sure.
Now, Dawn Staley put out one of her commitment alerts today, the little birdie flew into the nest thing that she likes to do. So it could be one of these two. 6'6" transfer Medina Okot from Mississippi State. It is her?
According to 94 Feet WBB, she has committed to the Gamecocks.
Okay. The other one, who was supposed to be in this weekend, from Utah, 6-foot Utah transfer Gianna Neepkers. Gianna Neepkers. She was in for a visit over the weekend per Talia Goodman of On3. But you're saying that Okot has announced a commitment to South Carolina.
Well, the Twitter
website
page has.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 6'4", Jeremiah Israel is transferring to Presbyterian from Northern Kentucky. His agency announced that. He averaged 2 points and 1 rebound per game last season. If you only average 2 points and 1 rebound per game, should you have an agent?
No, I'm just wondering how much pay-for-play money PC actually has.
I don't know. I don't question these things. Clemson's had contact with San Diego transfer 6'5" Tony Duckett, according to basketball. Why did I write basketball coach? According to basketball reporter Max Friedman, Duckett was to visit Oregon State today. Utah and Pitt reportedly are also interested. He averaged 10 points and 2 rebounds per game last season. And in baseball, South Carolina landed a commitment from outfielder Aaron Jameson of Fort Scott Junior College, Kansas. This season, he's batting .402, 12 homers, and 50 RBIs with 16 steals. He formerly played at West Virginia. There you go. That's the recruiting report for tonight right here on Sports Talk. Let's go back to the spring game for a moment. Here are Lenore Sellers and Dylan Stewart as they spoke with the media following Friday night's spring game at Williams-Brice Stadium. Of course, neither played a whole heck of a lot. It's more about what you did this spring. What are you doing to get ready for the upcoming season? Neither one is extremely talkative, but here we go nonetheless with the questions and then the answers.
Hey, fellas, if you could both just take this one, not for the game tonight, but the entire spring practice. How much progress do you think was made? And is there one issue that you guys think that you might need to work on before the season starts?
I mean, we always going to have issues just because it's spring ball. It's a bunch of new guys coming in. We just got to keep building chemistry, keep building, bringing the young guys along, stuff like that. But, yeah, we definitely have improved as a team, I would say.
I would say we improved. We just got to get the little things together, like just being more disciplined, I would say.
Lenore, could you just give your assessments on the quarterbacks and what you saw from all of them tonight?
Yeah. I saw with Air, they did some good stuff with what they had. I know sometimes we had, pressures, little things like that. This is small things like the footwork, consistency in the drops, stepping up in the pocket, stuff like that. Cutter came out and did his thing. He had a couple good passes. He ran in, touchdown. I mean, Luke is Luke. Y'all know Luke. He's been here forever. He did his thing. Same thing with Dante. They went out there, did their thing, worked with what they had, moved the ball when they needed to, got stuff done. So,
kind of a similar question for you, Dylan. What did you see from some of those younger defensive ends in the room tonight and through the spring?
I seen them just playing hard, just playing with a lot of effort, and they're willing to learn. Like, they want to learn and get better and just come along and be great.
Lenore, too, for you real quick, working with Rodney Newsome tonight, obviously the snap went over your head. What kind of happened on that play there?
I just think it was a mistake on his part. It happens, so, I'm not really going to blame him for the judgment for him. First game in Williams-Brice, stuff like that, so I understand.
And then Shane was just in here a minute ago saying, if at the end of the spring, Boaz would probably be the starting center for you guys right now. From working with him in the spring and stuff, what has it been like, working under center with him, and what does he bring to the table that you like?
Yeah, smart guy. He's just physical, super positive, always happy. I don't think I've ever seen him down or anything. He's always smiling, no matter what, if it's good or bad. He just knows what he's doing. He has a lot of experience on the college level, so excited to work with him.
What's the spring been like for you? What have been some of the main things you've been trying to hone in on and tune up so far?
Main things I've been trying to hone in is to my strength, playing to run better, just learning more, learning more outside of my position, not just learning my job, learning the D tackle's job, the corner's job, the linebacker's job, so I can know where everybody's supposed to be.
Is being more well-rounded something that you've tried to emphasize, compared to last year when you're just still learning everything right off the jump?
Yeah, something because it makes you better.
Lenoris, what did you see from the young receivers? Brian Rowe and Malik made some big plays tonight. What else? And your brother was out there as well.
Yeah, they just showed up all spring, so it wasn't really a surprise to see them tonight. We knew what they had coming in, recruiting them out of high school. So, we expect them to be good players. They have to come in and play. I think we brought in 5, with Donovan Murphy still coming in. So, they got to be ready to play, and they showed tonight that they are.
I don't want to say you guys were unknowns last year, but probably not as many people knew your name or your face. How has your life changed with NIL and just going out, taking pictures, people knowing you? How's your guys' life changed in the last year?
It's just crazy. Just going in public, like you said, people asking for pictures and stuff. Just everybody knows you. Can't really go into public without being recognized now. So it's crazy. It's fun. It's cool.
Yeah, what he said, I agree.
Lenoris, what are you going to spend most time this summer, and what do you want to improve on most? And second question is, can you critique your brother's first appearance in Williams-Brice Stadium?
Yeah. So I just want to focus on the little things, just footwork, consistency, and drops, like I said earlier. Just being more patient, anticipation, stuff like that. Just the small details. And then my brother, if you don't fair catch a punt, fair catch it, actually catch it. I told him that on the field, so and if you catch an out-breaking route, don't run back into where the defense is coming from. It's not going to end up good for you. So,
Norris, kind of what Dick asked. I'm sure you had a routine last summer with your receivers. You guys getting together and throwing. Is there anything that you're going to change for this summer's routine?
Yeah, we probably need to do it more just because they're freshmen. I think we had more older guys last year than we had freshmen coming in. So we just have to do it more, make sure they understand why we do things, understand reading coverages and what they need to do with their routes. If they need to break them flat, keep them high, make sure they come back to the ball curl routes, just stuff like that.
Lenoris, you've had the Heisman tag kind of circulating around your name as of late. Is it weird hearing that and hearing your name in those type of conversations, or do you think about it at all?
I won't say it's weird. It's definitely different, but I still got to go out there and play, so I don't look into it too much, but we all have goals. So
this is for both of you guys. Obviously, the spring game is kind of unique in its structure. How much does tonight scratch the itch for you guys to get back out there?
It's always good to play in Williams-Brice. Just gets the team to compete in the game setting. I know we practice and stuff, but it's nothing like playing an actual game against your teammates in Williams-Brice.
Yeah, it's always good to have that feeling. Fans cheering you on while you play. It's a good feeling to have.
The defense and all the good things y'all did last year, what's sort of
Happy Easter. Should have said that, please.
what's sort of the mindset, mentality of the group as a whole as you guys go into the offseason?
Put the ball down. Mindset. Say it again. Nah, he messed me up with that.
Just the team, the defense as a group, building off last year, all the good things you did. How do you guys?
We just trying to be better than last year. We trying to be better than our previous year. So just trying to be better.
Okay, couple of the Gamecocks there, Lenore Sellers and Dylan Storts. If they can be better, that means they'd be 10, 11 wins. Talk more about that. We got time to talk about that moving forward, Berkey. But
yes, we do.
No reason not to feel optimistic, I think, in a lot of ways about the South Carolina football team going into this season. Chance to get a noticeable, nice win to open things up in Atlanta against Virginia Tech and then go from there. Be right back.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Well, it was a great weekend at Harbortown, a great tournament, and a great win by Justin Thomas. Rounds of 61, 69, 69, and 68. So that is now, if my math is right, 9 straight rounds in the 60s at Harbortown for Justin Thomas. That's hard to do. Of course, he had to go an extra hole to get it done. Very fortunate, as you mentioned, Bergie, because Novak could have won that thing right there. Yep. At the 18th and just missed. Tough miss for him. Here is Justin Thomas after collecting his trophy and his tartan jacket and sat down and talked with the media after his victory.
Justin, I know you would have liked to have won before this, but I know this place is super special to you and a great place to get this done. If we can get some comments.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a golf course and a place that I love. I mean, I'm fortunate to play the Junior Heritage, a junior tournament here. So it's just I feel like it's a golf course that fits my game, or it's a place that I just really enjoy to play, because I think it's a place that rewards good golf, but it can really penalize you, and you can make bogeys so fast if you get out of position. And I was really proud of today, of just staying patient and kind of plotting our way along. And yeah, I mean, I feel like winning on a golf course like this is a pretty cool thing to add to your resume. And not that I wouldn't have taken one wherever I could get it, and still will, but yeah, it's a great feeling.
Take us through the putt, the first hole, or first playoff hole, and then also to win with Jillian and Molly there, yeah, which I know is super special.
For sure. We unfortunately had the disappointing walk together as a family in Tampa. After had a couple shot lead there with a couple holes to go, and didn't have a good finish, and Victor went in there. So it was, that I feel like I used a lot of that as kind of momentum, or just to build on and motivation, if you will. But so it was great to have them there behind the green and be able to enjoy that win and celebrate with them. And I mean, the joy and excitement it brought to me to be able to see them after the putt went in, and even walking up to the green was something I definitely didn't think I would feel in past, but the putt in the playoff was it was a putt I feel like I'd seen in past. It's kind of a funky little pin of if you try to play too much break, it seems like it kind of stays out. But it just, more than anything, like I did all weekend, I felt like I had my read of a little bit outside the left of it being straight and falling right, and I just committed to that and really just tried to put a good stroke with good speed on it, and yeah, it looked good the whole way.
All right, we'll start with questions. Doug?
More relief or more joy?
I think joy. I think, there's definitely some relief in there, but it was, when the ball went in, it was pure joy. It was excitement and happy, but it was like after I kind of had that interaction with Joe, it was like just looking around, and it was just, it was joy. I just was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling.
You dropped your putter before the ball went in, right?
I did?
Yeah.
All right, let's go Ron and then Paul.
Given your career path the last 3 years and all we talked about, what was the hardest part? Was it working through that or waiting on today? Was it finding the key or waiting for today?
I don't know. I think, the hard part about it is it's really hard to win. And I feel like I've been playing well enough to win for a couple of years, but just because you feel that way and you are, obviously that doesn't mean that you're going to. Obviously to 23 was tough, and it was trying to work my way through it and get my way out of that. But it definitely, I feel like I was putting more pressure on myself even last year to win than I was this year. And I feel like my game is in such a better place and in a good spot to where I'm just really trying as hard as I can to get myself in a place mentally of just trusting and playing and just committing to what I'm doing and having the belief that it's going to be good enough the more often I get myself there. And I've done that a couple times this year and hadn't been able to close it out. And I even knowing in the playoff, it was like, if it obviously I plan and hope and want to win, but if it doesn't, we're just going to keep plugging and try to put ourselves there next time.
Comments from Justin Thomas. That's 16 wins for him now on the PGA Tour. He's won majors, and he's going to have a chance if he plays like he did at Harbortown. If he stays on top of his game like that, he's going to have a chance to make some noise down the road at some of the other majors to come, including the PGA Championship, which is right around the corner. Yeah.
He's already won at Quail Hollow before. So, that's a course he knows, obviously, and can play very well. But props to him, Phil. You brought this up earlier in the show about him calling a penalty on himself.
Mm-hmm.
And from what CBS was saying yesterday, it was in a situation where nobody saw it. He was the only one around. He could have easily just said, nope, I'm not going to call a penalty on myself. I'm in the mix here. But that's the way golfers are. Really impressive stuff from him.
Yeah. Now, ask me if I'd have called the penalty on myself.
Hey, no.
Are you kidding me?
No way.
If they didn't catch it on camera and nobody in my gallery was watching, my gallery. How big do you think my gallery would be? Me and a couple of squirrels. Squirrels can't see that well to pick out that kind of movement.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy, a bit muggy this evening with the low temp dipping to 63. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a 20% chance we get some late afternoon scattered showers, and we'll have a high of 87. For Wednesday and Thursday, it's up to 50% chance for those afternoon storms. High temperatures will be in the low 80s both days. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at HandJCattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle. Again, HandJCattle.com, where ethics meets quality.
with SRN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The gunman who killed 23 people in a racist attack at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, has pleaded guilty to capital murder. Patrick Crucius changed his plea Monday in a state district court and was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the August 2019 attack, one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. The wife of former Senator Bob Menendez has been convicted of charges that she teamed up with the New Jersey Democrat to accept bribes of cash, gold bars, and a luxury car. A New York jury returned its verdict Monday in the trial of Nadine Menendez. Prosecutors say she was a key figure in the bribery scheme in which the powerful senator sold his clout to 3 New Jersey men. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 971 points. This is SRN News.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing the Wing and a Prayer Wednesday special. Purchase an order of wings and a drink and get a free gift card for the arcade. We have some of the most mouth-watering jumbo wings like flamethrower hot wings, barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings, terry hot wings. You can get a half dozen for $9.95 or a dozen for $18.95. Served with celery and choice of dressing. So come join us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy some great jumbo wings and lots of fun in our new and improved arcade. And we at Flight Deck Restaurant thank y'all and God bless.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with The Point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. What you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
All right, Jim Tolman coming up just a moment here on Sports Talk. A few other notes to pass along to you, though. Clemson transfer forward Miles Foster is now on the move once again. He is entering the transfer portal, John, according to Sam Kaiser, who is a basketball analyst for League RDY. So Miles Foster spent 3 years at Monmouth, where Rick Callahan, former South Carolina assistant, is now the GM, was an assistant up there. Then a year at Illinois State, and then he played at Clemson. Sort of a mild contributor off the bench, not a major contributor. Well, thank you. Yeah, he hit the
And
flush.
there he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. Flushed out of the system. The Braves have placed Spencer Strider on the 15-day IL due to a strained right hamstring. He just came back, and now he is going to be out once again with a strained hammy. Those aren't fun. I've strained many a hammy over the days and years. Let's see what else I want to mention here. Pitcher, South Carolina, North Florida. Jackson Susie, left-hander, 3-0 against Tommy Groom, a right-hander. No record, a 4.91 ERA. And let's see what else I want to mention here before we get to Coach. Rankings this week, always important. Clemson, Baseball America number 2, and Coastal number 16. D1, Clemson number 2, and Coastal number 21. Perfect Game, Clemson number 2 and Coastal number 14. And by the coaches, Clemson number 2 and the coaches for Coastal number 20. Also, RPIs this week. Clemson number 7, Coastal 13, USC 51, Upstate 77, Wofford 117, Charleston Southern 130, College of Charleston 138, El Cid 149, Winthrop 177, Presbyterian 219. And with that, let's turn our attention to another edition of Just a Bit Outside with Coach Jim Toman.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right. The best walk-up music in all of baseball radio. Coach Jim Toman, Just a Bit Outside. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil. I'm up here in Pennsylvania, hanging out with my 95-year-old uncle, making sure he's doing okay. So I've been up here for 4 or 5 days, and probably go back home to Virginia in a little bit, but then I'll probably come up this next week too. But it needs a lot of help, so trying to help my fam out.
Y'all throw back a couple of cold ones while you're up there?
No, I didn't have time, man. I'm sitting at a rehab center, taking care of the uncle. There ain't no time for no cold beer, that's for sure.
Well, I was thinking about for him. I'm thinking 95. You probably popped a cold one with him.
He probably needs a couple, that's for sure. It's tough in these places. So
yeah,
it's all good though.
All good. Well, good weekend for South Carolina. Finally, they kind of got some real good starting pitching. Of course, this was not complete weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but 2 really good starts. That's can you ask for 3 really good starts? I guess you can ask. You seldom get 3 really good starts. They got 2 really good starts, however.
Well, it was a big weekend for them. I mean, Ole Miss isn't, they're not chopped liver. We won 2 out of 3 against the 11th best team in the country. That shows you the potential of this team and what they can do. The question is, whether it's too little, too late. We have 12 games left, South Carolina does, and they pretty much got to go 9-3. If they go 10-2, I think they're in, and they go 9-3, they might have a shot at it. Maybe if they win a couple in the tournament, but they got to really get on a run here. And we can do it. It's been done before. You just got to get hot at the right time. But we've dug such a big hole that every single game is going to be really important. And you're going to have to sweep some teams too to get 12 games. You got to go 9-3. There's not much room for error there. So, but it can be done. I mean, we play, I guess it's at Kentucky, and then I think we play Florida, Auburn, and then finish with LSU. So it's, like the SEC always is, it's the toughest league in the country, and it's not an easy, not an easy thing to go 9-3 in the last 12. But if we do, the committee may say, hey, these guys are getting hot at the right time. They deserve to be in. So it's still a possibility. But if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I would probably, it's pretty hard to go 9-3 or 10-2.
Yeah. And you look at their lineup. I mean, guys like Nathan Hall's batting 358. Petrie's batting 333. The freshman Bo Hollins is batting .317. They got some guys swinging the bat pretty well. Then you got some in the upper 280s. The freshman Scobie's batting .246. So they got some guys swinging the bat pretty well for them right now. It really, is it simple enough to just say, they'll win those games you're talking about if they can get the kind of pitching 2 out of 3 games like they got this past series. That was outstanding starting pitching. One complete game and then another one that went really deep into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done, but, we won 2 out of 3. If we win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, we still probably don't get in at 8-4. So we need to sweep someone, and maybe 2, and then that gives you a little bit of work to get in. But it can still be done. I mean, it's college baseball, and you got one of the best coaches in the country. If they turn it on at the right time, you never know. You never know. I mean, I've seen teams. I mean, Ole Miss was one of the last teams in a couple years ago, and they won the whole thing. Okay, so it can happen. In basketball, baseball, football, you always have upsets. So, why not get hot? Why not us? Why not the Gamecocks? You never know. That being said, we should be talking about Clemson.
Yep.
Clemson 35-7, 7th in the RPI. There's 5 major polls, and there's about 5 other ones. But the 5 major polls, Clemson is number 2 in the country in all of them. So they're having a great year. 3 close games against Louisville. I knew Dan McDonald would be tough to beat, but Clemson won 2 out of 3, but them games were really close. And it's a good and a bad thing for Clemson because they've won a lot of games coming back and winning them close. And, how long does that magic last? Does it last all the way to the national championship game? Because it's hard to maintain it, and all year long they've been pretty darn consistent. And they're always finding ways to just barely win. So I don't know if it can happen all year. I know they got a great coaching staff over there. They play UGA on Tuesday. They have a good schedule. And then they go to NC State, who's just swept a team. And NC State's pretty hot right now, and they just snuck into the top 25 in one poll. So Clemson, big week, UGA and then at NC State. 2 really good programs. And then you got Coastal Carolina still hanging in there at 30-10. They're 14-4 in their conference. You said earlier 13 RPI. They outscored Marshall 34-6. And they have College of Charleston tomorrow. I wish I could go to that one, but I'm up here in Pennsylvania. And then this weekend they have JMU. Coastal does. I'd say Coastal is probably a solid number 2 seed now, and they're trying to be a host. And, if they finish strong, which their schedule is, a doable schedule from here on out. So, they may be looking at hosting as well as Clemson, and Clemson's looking very much like a national seed to me.
Well,
and then
let me say this about
the other teams in the SEC or South Carolina.
Hang on one second, Coach. I want to mention this about Clemson.
Okay.
You mentioned Georgia. I mean, they've only got 4 home games left. Georgia and then 3 with Duke. I mean, they finish up 3 at State, 3 at Florida State, at Coastal, and 3 at Pittsburgh. So that's a tough close with 10 road games left out of your final 14.
Absolutely. And it's always tougher on the road, and almost every team in America is better at home. But that toughens you up a little bit, and they'll get home for a regional, and if they win that, they'll be hosting a super regional. So they're in really good position right now. I only have 2 tidbits today.
Go ahead.
The first one is Cam Canarella. The guy, that catch he had in center field last week was incredible, and whoever the camera guy was that caught three pictures right in a row where he's almost over the wall. The guy should have been a basketball player with that vertical. But that might be the best catch I've seen in a long time, to be honest with you. And then the other one, I have a personal one. My father-in-law, I should say ex-father-in-law, Larry McLaughlin, big sports guy in Florence, South Carolina, is very, very ill. And love that guy and just wanted to give a shout out to him.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yep.
Wish him the best. Wish your uncle the best as well. Bergie's got a question for you about the Clemson Tigers.
Well, I wanted to ask you a two-part one. You mentioned the matchup with Georgia. Wouldn't it be better to see those two teams play a weekend series, much like the Gamecocks and Tigers do? I mean, these are two top 10 teams that'll be playing tomorrow night, and we'll have to throw guys out of the back end of their bullpen.
And it's a natural rivalry. You know, they're not that far away in Athens, and two great teams. Yeah, that's a good idea. You can't play all teams, from the SEC or ACC in non-conference, but that would be wonderful because you're talking about two teams that have been really good for a long time. So, yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of the Georgia people, a lot of the Clemson people would like to see that too. They played a couple pro parks and neutral sites, and I think they did a big crowd. I know that.
And also, speaking of Clemson, Drew Titsworth got his first start of the season on Saturday. It was terrific, or I guess on Friday, actually, was terrific and was actually named the ACC Pitcher of the Week. Do you feel like he might be a guy that can stabilize that middle after Canuck on Friday and then whatever they end up doing on Sundays? But do you feel like they may have found somebody that can handle that?
It's been kind of a revolving door, and I think they've started like 6 different guys on the weekends. And what that shows me is that Nick Snobble and the coaching staff over there, recruiting-wise, has done a really good job of getting a lot of quality depth, okay? In the SEC and ACC, you always have a lot of good pitching and hitters, but the teams that have the depth and they can withstand a couple injuries or a couple guys struggling, and they just plug guys in, that means someone's doing a good job recruiting because, a lot of teams have 2-3 guys hurt, and they're done for the year. The team isn't good enough to withstand it. It seems like Clemson, every time someone struggles a little bit, they come out of nowhere and they throw a guy, throws 7 innings and shut out. So they must have a lot of depth on that pitching staff to do what they're doing right now.
Well, Coach Backett said after the game Sunday, I think it was. I'm sorry, Saturday, that Darden was a little sore, is how he put it. They don't think it's anything more than that, but just a little bit sore at this particular time.
Well, sometimes that can be just he's a little sore, and sometimes that can be he's got a problem. But you don't quite know until we see what happens and develops. I hope he's okay. I'd love to see some teams in the state of South Carolina make a run at obviously there's going to be a couple in the regionals. Maybe someone wins their tournament and we get a couple more than Clemson and Coastal in the regionals. You never know. And then, hopefully a couple are in supers and we can see some of them in Omaha so Phil can, buy me a couple hot dogs and cold beers.
Well, we got to have a steak. We got to go to.
Yeah, well, I get it. What is it, the Drover?
The Drover.
Like
got to get to the Drover, man. Got to get back to the Drover. One last thing. College of Charleston, they ran into some great pitching up there at Northeastern, didn't they?
You know what? It always happens up there. They got a really good coach. I mean, his brother was a big-time pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and he knows baseball. He played pro baseball. He's one of he must be a real humble guy because you never hear anything about him, and his teams are always really well coached, and they always have talent, and they always pitch. And when you go up there to play, you don't usually win. Like, they win 2 out of 3 all the time up there against good teams. So give that guy a little bit more credit than he gets because that guy's a really good college baseball coach, and Northeastern has a really good program up there.
We appreciate it as always, Coach. Our best to you and your family members as you're busy with that.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you taking some time away to join us as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, buddy. All right, be safe, guys.
You too, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All right, there you go. Coach Jim Toman with us here on Sports Talk, just a bit outside, but right now he's more of a great nephew and a great son-in-law.
Yes, he is.
He's
props to him there.
Taking care of family, which obviously is very big with him, very important to him. We're going to hit the break, and when we come back, some comments from Andrew Novak, the Charleston native. Went to Academic Magnet. Didn't realize that. And then, of course, to Wofford. and now on the PGA Tour. Going to break through eventually. Back in a moment.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
All right, Coastal Carolina sits in third. First round of the Sun Belt Men's Golf Championship. Shauna clears 3 under par. Arkansas State leads at 10 under. James Madison, they're at 4 under par. So we'll keep a watch on that. And also, play was suspended there because of weather. The CAA Championship, College of Charleston, is in 4th place going into the final round of that championship. They've already got 2 rounds in the books, and so College of Charleston is in 4th place going into the final round there, playing that up in New Jersey. So Andrew Novak made a great run at it yesterday at Harbortown. Great run at it. He did not wilt. He just came a few inches shy, making that putt on 18 to avoid a playoff and winning straight out. And then his approach on 18 on the playoff hole was not the best. But then again, he got beat by a 21-foot birdie putt. So what can you say about that? Mm-hmm. Here's Novak as he took questions from the media after that disappointing loss to
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas. Thank you very much.
Andrew, what's the emotions that you're feeling at the moment?
Not so much as far as emotions. Like, I'm not as frustrated as I thought I would be. I guess, I don't know, I feel like I did a lot of good things. I'm pretty proud of putting myself in that position when I felt like I wasn't swinging it that great this week. The fact that I was able to scrap out like almost a win with not really swinging my best. The irons kind of were giving me issues at times. I hit a few good ones down the stretch, which was cool because, you know, with the pressure on, usually it gets tougher, and I was still able to pull off some shots. So I was happy to see that. I thought I was a little bit more comfortable down the stretch than maybe I have been in the past. So, Justin just went out and won it. Like, there's nothing you can really do about it.
Nervy down the stretch at all? You feel it?
Yeah, at times, a little bit. I mean, yeah, I was definitely feeling it. I would say 18, I was definitely feeling like, kind of once I saw Justin miss, I knew I had a chance. Put a great swing on it, and then had a good look with the putt and just misread it. I mean, I thought I executed pretty well. So,
when you have time to reflect big picture what you've done, Valero here and everything, will you feel like you're just right on the edge now where you want to be, that you've made the kind of progress in your
Yeah. I mean, I need to go out there and get a win at some point. But, yeah, all of these finishes are great. I mean, I have big goals for the year. Obviously, like, this is going to look good for Captain Keegan, and I've got a lot more to do as far as that. But I'm putting my name up there, and next step is just to win.
16, you knew you had to do something. Just tell me about what happened at 16, how you put yourself there so you had a chance at the end.
Yeah, I knew I didn't get 15. I saw Justin made one on 15, so I knew I was one back. 17, 18 aren't the easiest birdie holes, so 16 after the tee shot I hit, I knew, I kind of needed to take advantage. And the putt had a lot of break, but it wasn't too fast. I mean, it was one you could just kind of throw out there and let the slope bring to the hole, and I just hit a great putt.
Andrew, just, what was the conversation like with your mom, your wife, your dad, Amy Spencer, all the people that were there? What was that conversation there?
Yeah, they just said they were proud of me. I was obviously very blessed to have them here this week and to get to see this week. This is, a home event for me. I had tons of fans in the crowd. It was really cool just to have a lot of love out there while I was playing.
All right, Andrew Novak coming up just short at the RBC Heritage, presented by Boeing at Harbortown. And, Justin Thomas, great win for him. He breaks a winless streak going back to the PGA of 2022. So that's a long drought
incredible.
For a golfer like he is. He's also been a guy, if you go back and look at his bio, he's been in a lot of playoffs in his career. He's that guy that just sort of is always there. He's won some playoffs. He's lost some playoffs. He happened to win this one on Sunday. So great win for him. And now they go to New Orleans this weekend for the Zurich Classic. I think they still play the team format there, don't they?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Team format for that. And then soon to be headed to Charlotte for the PGA. So we'll be ready for that to get here and paying a lot of attention to that when it rolls around. Okay, tomorrow night, of course, this is draft week for the NFL. Tomorrow night, our number one draft pick, Rick Sanford, Dr. Rick Sanford, will join us at 7:05. Rick Sanford played football at the highest level, the NFL, was an All-American in college, and he still has that love for football. In particular, he loves to follow what is happening behind the scenes with the draft. He's no Mel Kiper.
I don't know.
But then again, he's no Mel Kiper. But then again, Mel Kiper never had to tackle George Rogers.
This is true.
and those big running backs. And Mel Kiper never put a shoulder into anybody like Rick Sanford did. So he's got his own perspective. But he knows his draft stuff.
There's no doubt. That's what I was saying. I think you might be selling Rick a little short. He's outstanding, and I get it. I mean, Mel Kiper's made his living on the NFL draft, but I mean, Rick Sanford knows his stuff. There won't be anybody from our state we can throw at him that he doesn't have a solid opinion on one way or the other.
Looking forward to having him with us. I would expect Josh Harris will be with us tomorrow night, even though there was no Cup race over the weekend. I'm sure he wants to be with us to talk NASCAR and talk about the upcoming Southern 500. We say upcoming. I mean, it'll be here before we know it, the Southern 500 at Darlington. And I'm sure there'll be more movement in the personnel world of college sports between now and then. You were telling me that I Am a Leaving has a brother. He's a quarterback
Yes.
at Arkansas, and he's Emma Leaving as well.
He evidently is, and they've completed. I'm not sure if we mentioned this on air, but they have completed the trade between Tennessee and UCLA because Joey Aguilar is heading back now to Knoxville. He's going to take over.
Okay. Anybody to be named later in that trade as well?
Ben Middlebrooks, ironically enough.
Ben Middlebrooks. Any cash considerations thrown in there as well?
5th round draft pick as well.
All right, y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.